I feel like one day I was just like, I want to do something different. Like, I don't want to look like everybody else. It was one day at NCAA's indoor, I believe. I put rhinestones on my hair, on my slick back.
Yeah.
So then the next week at Texas Relays, I ran like the fastest all time. The commentator, he called me over. He was like, well, if it isn't the Rhinestone Queen. And so from there, I was like, hold on,
you might as well take it.
we
You
can
might as well
trademark
own
that.
it.
Yeah. So I was
That's
like,
dope.
okay. And then I just took it and ran with it. Like now I get my uniform customized. It's rhinestone down, like everything bedazzled.
Yeah, you better. Yeah, you better.
How you feeling?
I feel great. I'm blessed to be here.
Yeah. What's life been like since after college?
It's been a hard transition.
Yeah.
I am still currently struggling right now, but we're on the come up.
Yeah.
I'm just patient and excited for my journey because even though it's hard right now, I know that there's going to be greater later. Like God is within me, so I can't fail.
Yeah. What's actually been hard about the journey?
Building this new team that I have, like I have to, on this next level, I know where I'm going and I have to have a team around me so I'm not getting taken advantage of and things aren't happening to me that's out of my control. So the most stressful part is just getting the team, like having the discernment to figure out who's, there for me or who's just there for the money or whatever.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Building that strong foundation. I know recently you guys have been promoting the money game. What's that experience been like for you?
Literally insane.
Yeah.
Literally insane. Huh? I did not know people loved me that much.
Yeah.
I guess like they kind of, the way they painted me in the documentary was real, it was real like sad story. But in a way there's beauty in it. And so many people saw the beauty in my story. So I just want to keep telling it.
And for those who haven't seen it, what was like the sad portion of it that you feel like maybe they focused on?
From my perspective, I say how ambitious I was, how confident I was in myself, but things don't always happen the way you want them to. So I think that was like the key takeaway from it. Like even though she has these dreams and goals, just because they didn't happen today don't mean they can't happen tomorrow. So that's kind of like the takeaway.
Is it different like when you're obviously on camera shooting that type of stuff and then seeing the final product, like seeing how they portray you a little bit?
Yeah. It's actually really funny because that's the best anyone's ever portrayed me. Like the person that you've seen in that documentary, that's Alia. That's Alia Armstrong for real. So it was kind of different when we were filming because sometimes I felt like I had to like act a certain way when it came out so naturally.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You guys have been doing panels, having conversation around it. What's been like the key takeaway from that experience so far?
Just seeing where I've come from. I come from nothing. Like my mom was a single mother. She raised me and my sister in Cali, like one of the most expensive states, by herself as a single mother. So just seeing that we came from that to now I'm in New York for the third time within a month, like I'm blessed. So I just look back at it like, dang, I came from nothing.
That's a good perspective. So I guess let's go there. You talk about like the things that you came from, your experiences, obviously well-decorated athlete. You know, I could go down a list of all the things that you've done so far. When did you feel like you were made for the moment?
When I made the world team. That was like a dream that I've always been dreaming about since I was in diapers.
Yeah.
I always wanted to be like Allison Felix. And the fact that I finally made a world team in college at that, like I was like, yeah, this is gonna take off. Like my future is gonna be crazy sick. And I just started having this different level of faith that was, I can do anything. If I just made this world team in college against the pros, I'd be all the pros. I'm her. Yeah.
Did you get any mentorship from anybody who had been like on a former team or anything like that?
Yeah, a lot of my friends were on the team, like prior to, like Noah Lyles. We got really close that year at Worlds. Yeah, Allison Felix, like I had a few conversations with her.
Yeah.
Just stuff like that.
Is there anybody that you would say you kind of look up to in the sport at all?
Sydney McLaughlin. I love her. I love her grace, and she's just very respectful. She's not funny acting. She don't like, turn a cold shoulder if you ask her for a picture. She's just so humble. I love her.
That's dope. That's dope. One thing I wanted to talk about was obviously the sports photography aspect of this. With NIL, with athletes being able to kind of control their brand, is becoming, with sports photography, it's becoming more accessible for athletes to be able to be in front of the camera and those types of things. For me, one of the most iconic photos that we've seen on the basketball side is Angel Reese, who obviously went to LSU. They won a national championship. her kind of putting her hand on the finger, you know, ring me, right? And so when you think about women's basketball, that's one of the photographs that's like that iconic moment. If you could control your narrative in any way and you could have someone capture that moment for you, what would that look like?
That moment would probably look like just me honoring God after my race. That's the most important part of my race. Like every time I cross the line, no matter what, that's who I give praise to. So that would be like an iconic moment because it's always genuine. Like it's never for the cameras or forced or like, I have to do this because I want to look godly. Like I am a godly woman in and out.
And that's like obviously the most natural way that you can capture somebody.
Yeah.
Which I guess kind of pivots into my next question, which would be, you know, if you had advice for any sports photographers out there, what would be the best way to capture the essence of a track and field athlete?
Just meet them where they are. Like I would say track and field loves being uplifted because there's not everyone who walks across the line and they're happy with the race that they had. So the fact that they would have support in front of the cameras and still be shown like, no, you're enough. I think that would be a really good pitch for a sports photographer in general, just to uplift the athlete and make them feel loved because you don't know what type of day they had.
I feel like that's hard because obviously when you look at track, you always see like the individual. And I think in other sports, especially team sports, right, you see that camaraderie, you see that team. And unless you guys are doing like a relay or something like that, you don't always feel that. So that's interesting that you say that because you're like in that moment by yourself and being able to capture that in a way that's still positive and kind of shows you in a good light. I think it's dope. Do you have any memorable photos that you feel like stand out of any of your races?
Yeah. My most iconic photo was the photo that I took, or the photo that was taken of me after nationals. I was pointing to the sky after I won the title. But that was the first thing I thought to do. Like, first thing I did after I crossed the line was point to the sky. That's all God. I can't take no credit. I just did the work. But he did the background work.
That's dope. One thing that I feel like is kind of changing in the space of sports in general is being able to capture athletes in different fits, drips, stuff like that off the field, off the court. Are there moments like that where you guys are able to kind of have that for yourself? I know, like, obviously you show up to meets, it's a little bit different than like a tunnel fit or something like that, but do you guys take ownership over being able to do stuff off the field that allows you to kind of show your creativity, show your style, different things that you want to wear?
Yeah, I feel like that's the thing that's changing the sport right now is the fact that we can show up to the meets in a fit and then like go get changed and like get in our warm-up stuff. But I think that's just the beginning part of something beautiful in track is we get to show up dressed our Sunday's best. And I love that because we deserve it. I feel like we're not just here trying to run. Like we're people too. We have a sense of fashion. We have feelings. So I just think that it's cool that they're incorporating that type of stuff.
You call yourself the Rhinestone Queen. So obviously you wear rhinestones in your hair. What kind of sparked you incorporating that? And then do you feel like that's a way for you to have self-expression? Like what was kind of the, I guess, decision to go that route?
I feel like one day I was just like designing, like I was just like, I want to do something different. Like I don't want to look like everybody else. So like I started, it was one day at NCAA's indoor, I believe. This was my sophomore year in 2022. I put rhinestones on my hair, on my slick back. And so that was one of my worst meets. So then the next week at Texas Relays, I ran like the fastest all time, all conditions in college. And the commentator, he called me over. He was like, well, if it isn't the Rhinestone Queen. And so from there, I was like, hold on, we can trademark that. So I was
That's
like,
dope.
okay. And then I just took it and ran with it. Like now I get my uniform customized. It's rhinestone down, like everything bedazzled. So
has it become almost like a superstition where it's like, I have to have my rhinestones or?
No, not really. It's just me being me, I feel like. But I will say, Sha'Carri showed up one day at a meet and she had rhinestones on her uniform and I was like, okay, that's really cute. So I did get some inspiration from her, but this was after I had already started. So, but I got inspiration for doing it on my uniform.
Yeah, that's dope. Is there anything about like where you come from that you incorporate in your journey as a track athlete?
A lot of people don't know this, but I was actually born and raised in California. I'm from LA. I was born there, and then I was raised in the IE. But then we moved to New Orleans when I was 15.
Where in the IE?
I went to school in Corona, and I lived in Riverside.
Okay, so you're like 10 minutes from me.
No way.
Yeah,
Okay.
that's kind of crazy.
Small world.
And how did you guys end up in Louisiana?
Yeah, so we ended up in Louisiana because my mom was struggling really, really bad with us. She was by herself. She didn't have nobody. So she got back on the police department. My mom's a New Orleans police officer. She got back there to give us a better life. So we had to move everything, my friend's life, and we moved to New Orleans for that reason. And then from there, I did high school and now college and pro still.
What was that recruiting process like for you?
It's crazy. I didn't expect it. I like out of nowhere. My mom was just one day at practice. I was messing around and I jumped over a trash can, and she was like, "Again, you want to try hurdles?" And I was like, "Yeah." And so from there, it took off. I started like training for it. Then I did my first race, and everyone's jaw went to the floor. Like on my first race, I got recruited by Northwestern.
Oh wow!
My first ever hurdle race. Yeah. So we knew we had something.
Do you have a goal set for yourself for like the next year of anything you want to accomplish in your track career?
No, not really. I just want to be the greatest there is.
Yeah.
That's it. Like there's whatever that takes, whatever that means, I just want to be the greatest to do it. I don't want to like put a limitation on myself because I can do all things. What I want the world to know about me is that I'm blessed because I have God and I have Jesus in my life. And if you don't have that, then you don't have true faith and you don't have true love. You have to find true love through God. So the fact that I can display that and I can just be naturally like love, I just want the world to know that. Like, I don't ever want them to get that twisted or misconstrued. Like, I'm love, and that's all I represent.
Yeah, I love that.
Yeah, you better. Yeah, you better.